briefings that we're going to take on, and that'll be highlighted for this week. We're planning on have today's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday presentations. One of those is the geological survey, and the other that is we're going to get a look at the audit on the water project. So that'll kind of highlight what we're going to be doing later on. But anyway, today we're going to start with State Agriculture Rural Leadership Program, and Senator McGinn is going to tell us about that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I just wanted to share a little bit about SARL. Some of you may know about SARL. It's State Ag Rural Leaders, and it's been in existence for over 20 years. It initially started with trying to get leaders such as Senator Kirshen and Reichman and Senator Francisco, who are the leaders of the committee, to be invited first. It transitioned into allowing anybody that was interested in agriculture on a committee to be invited and go. SARL has a meeting once a year, and of course we were sidelined just a little bit. We just got started last May again, and then in December we were in Charleston, South Carolina. So we're going again, and the next trip is in Fresno, California. So you might think about it. It is at a little bit of an awkward time, but it is a good time to go to Fresno. It's the very first week of January, so it's kind of you got to turn around real quick and get here to the legislature. But it's about a 3-day meeting. They tour the area. They teach you, they have farm tours, teach you a little bit about agriculture in that, in that region. So, but they have breakout classes such as, crop production, bioproducts, growing a small farm, how to transition your farm. And then we also have the Canadians are part of our organization as well. It's built just a little bit like CSG Midwest. Part of that, I mean, we have everybody across the country, but the real interest there is that region because Carolyn Orr has run the program for so many years. Now we have Sarah Blood, who has taken over and doing a great job. So we're continuing the tradition. But I want to just kind of also share how you're involved. Once a month we have a meeting, and if you need the Zoom link, I'll make sure you get it. And it's about a 30-minute meeting. Sometimes it spills over. And generally, we're doing a couple of different things. One, we're bringing up issues that are happening that pertains to agriculture and asking if any of the other states are dealing with this issue. And two, we're planning for the next conference. Part of that planning is where you can be involved. And that is, you have the opportunity to say, I want to talk about this topic. This is what's really heating up in Kansas, and we need to know more information about that. So you can help design the program. You can be a moderator. You can also help find the speaker that presents in that program. But since we had COVID, and we've had a lot of new people, and I just didn't know for sure how many people really know about this program. They've had scholarships in the past. I didn't get a chance to check to see if they still have those scholarships. But it's a great program if you like to be around a bunch of Aggies all across the country and learn about different things and how they're dealing with those types of things. So that's all I have unless you have any questions.
Any questions for Senator McGinn? Senator Francisco.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any questions, but I do want to share that I was able to go to the meeting when it was in Kansas City, and you were there and really found some of the sessions very helpful, and at that point a lot of good information about the trade issues between U.S. and Canada. So I appreciated that.
And we went to a dog treat plant and the American Royal. So trying to have an exciting conference in the middle of winter in Kansas was difficult, but we did have a great turnout.
Any other questions or comments? Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator McGinn, for your presentation. I'm kind of a beginner at this, and I've been to McGinn Farms last summer. That is kind of a starter for this. It's an exciting thing to me. So I noticed there's 2 of them under District 14. Do they go in and apply for those funding projects annually? Is that how that works? Do you know?
What, are you on that back page?
Yeah.
You said District 14.
Yes.
I'm not used to,
That's on a different program. Okay. I pulled
Yeah.
out the folder and got the wrong one.
oh, okay, because I was like, I'm not familiar with program, or districts, but anyway, again,
That's a different thing. Yeah, right.
Healthy food that we're going to hear in a little
I
bit.
understand. I got the wrong.
that one's
folder.
next.
Got too many folders floating around here.
Anyway, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to share about that. And if you have any questions about it, please contact me. And if you're interested in starting to join the Zooms on once-a-month basis, or you don't have to be there, or you can be there, again, it's a great way to talk to other Aggies all across the country and Canada. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much. You're sure welcome. Okay. Committee will move on to our next item. It's a briefing on the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative, and we'll call on Ryle Carver, Program Leader for Rural Group Initiative. Welcome to the committee.
Yes, there we go. Great. All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. My name is Ryle Carver, and I'm the program leader for the Rural Grocery Initiative. I'm here today to share about a program that my team is involved in that is addressing challenges many Kansas communities face, challenges like poor access to healthy food, underinvestment in local economies, and closing independent businesses. In 2017, the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative was established to overcome these challenges through financing and technical assistance. And I just realized I should have made sure that the slides were up and running before I got started, but I can keep talking as we get those going. So today, I'm going to talk through an overview of the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative, and then we have 2 presenters joining remotely who are representatives from funded projects from the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative. So they'll be sharing a little bit about their experience with the program. And then you've already taken a look at the packet that has been handed out to you all. That includes an overview of the program, as well as a list of funded projects in the districts represented by this committee, and then a couple different success stories of funded projects, including the 2 projects we're going to hear from today, Common Ground, Producers and Growers, and Grand Avenue Market. So the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative is a program that aims to increase access to healthy food in low-resource and underserved areas of Kansas. We do this in 2 ways, through technical assistance and financing, and we have 5 partner organizations who work together to carry out this program. Do you have those slides? Are you? Oh, no. I'll just keep talking. The packet does supplement what I'm talking about. Oh, you have the slides, so please follow along. That's great. Okay, excellent. All right, we're good then. Thank you. Okay, so through this program, we offer technical assistance, and our technical assistance aims to prepare business owners to secure funding and sustain operations. So through Network Kansas's Impact Investment Center, we connect businesses with business development expertise and support. And the Rural Grocery Initiative, my office, specializes in rural food access knowledge and provides technical assistance through individual conversations, events, and programming like the National Rural Grocery Summit, our Business Transition Mentorship Program, as well as our recent webinar series on business transition. All right. We also provide financing, and our financing provides one-time investment in healthy food retail projects in low resource and underserved areas of Kansas. Funding can be used for building improvements, equipment to expand healthy food offerings, and costs related to startup. And our financing is available through a loan and grant combination with standard ratios of grant to loan offered per project. In 2020, we implemented new financing parameters to include a higher grant ratio for projects led by those identifying as Black, Indigenous, and people of color, or BIPOC-led projects. And yep. We can go to the next slide, or I can go to the next slide. Thank you. Excellent. All right, now we're caught up here. Okay, so there are 5 partners that make up the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative. The Kansas Health Foundation is our current program funder. They've invested $6 million in healthy food financing in a specific financing pool to support projects in Kansas communities. And they've also provided operational support to the partner organizations involved in the program. We have the Rural Grocery Initiative, which is my office. We provide our technical assistance as well as handle promotion and outreach of the program, and then serve as the first point of contact for potential projects interested in our program. We have 2 financial partners that help administer this program. Both of these partners disperse funds directly to projects. And Network Kansas is one who typically handles projects of $75,000 or less. And then for projects greater than $75,000, we work with a partner organization called IFF, which is a community development financial institution with an office in the Kansas City area. And then lastly, the Food Trust is our evaluation partner and liaison to other healthy food financing initiatives like the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative that exist across the country. So since the start of our program, we've funded 62 projects in 37 counties, equaling over $3.8 million in direct investment in Kansas communities. These projects have created nearly 200 new jobs and sustained over 400 existing jobs. Our investment in these projects has stimulated over $14 million in additional funding from other sources to support these projects. And these projects are serving over 250,000 residents across the state. In this map, the shaded counties, the counties shaded in purple represent counties where projects have been funded. Some of these counties have had more than one project funded. And in this room, so 7 of the 9 districts represented in this room have benefited from funding from the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative. So 7 of 9 districts in this room. If we looked at our whole portfolio of projects that we've worked with, projects that maybe are still in our pipeline, not yet funded, then the map would be closer to 59 counties, or 56% of the counties would be shaded in purple. And if we looked at our technical assistance offerings, over 80% of the state would be shaded in purple. So through our financing and our technical assistance, we're reaching communities across the state. So I'm going to pause there, and the next section of this presentation is to hear from our 2 representatives from funded projects. The first person we'll hear from is Donna Pearson McClish with Common Ground Producers and Growers and Pearson's Farm. So we'll go to this. Yep, so Donna, you can go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Good morning, everyone. I apologize for the low bandwidth. I am in San Francisco, and it's a pleasure to be before the Ag Committee this morning. I'm Donna Pearson McClish, CEO of Common Ground Producers and Growers. We are an urban agriculture farm and a food hub in Wichita, Kansas. And we provide food for food desert, food insecurity areas. And we've been a family farm for 54 years. So when we connected with KHFI, it was certainly a blessing for them to be able to fund some of the needed upgrades on the farm in order for us to move forward and expand our services. Um, we have purchased, we are now leasing a walk-in cooler for our producers to drop off their produce. Let me back up just a little bit. In 2020, we were honored to be one of 7 recipients of the Urban Agriculture Implementation Program grants. And along with the grants and the funding from KHFI, we were able to do several upgrades on our farm. We come from a urban ag background, 54 years. We are in Wichita, and we serve from Wichita to Salina, Kansas. Last year, we included Salina, Kansas in our service area. And we've just been awarded recently an LFPP grant with other community partners to serve 12 counties along the I-135 corridor. So the foundational support of KHFI is certainly paying off, was certainly much needed, and we are very, very thankful for that. Our family, as I said, has been farming in Wichita for 54 years. We have a mobile farmers market and mobile food hub. So we move food. We aggregate food from a network of growers, and we gather it, store it, gather it, move it to where it needs to go. We serve at least 35 senior and high-rise properties in and around Wichita. In Wichita, we serve all of the districts except one. So we are thankful for KHFI support. And not only do they help you get your funding, and ours was a grant, but not only do they help you get your funding, but they continue that support even after your grant funds are expended. They have kept in contact with us. We still do some collaboration of things together. And I'd also like to say that 5 of our farmers that grow for us benefited each from their separate grants with KHFI. And these were 4 of them were socially disadvantaged BIPOC farmers. So KHFI has been instrumental in helping us launch and expand and do what we do better because of their support. And I know you can't see me physically, but hopefully before we sign off, you will be able to see the video of Common Ground and what we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Donna. Yes, I think we can go ahead and pull up that video. And while we're getting that ready to go, I'll just share that Common Ground, being a producer and a mobile market, fits into the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative because it is supplying produce, healthy food at retail locations in the Wichita and central Kansas area, really. So while healthy food retail you may think is strictly for grocery, we also are supporting other aspects of the food system that are supporting healthy food retail projects. You will also hear from a rural grocery project in a second, though, so we do span kind of both sides of that. All right, if you're ready, we can watch that video, and we'll just watch it for the first 2 minutes or so.
I'm so appreciative of them Monica Moderna is out at Common Ground Producers and Growers Mobile Market, loading up on fresh vegetables.
I got tomatoes, onions, leek, which I don't know what to do with, but I'll find out.
The only reason she is able to get these fresh foods is because of the grassroots efforts run by Common Ground.
I'm 87, and when you're 87 and you don't get out very much, you know, it's difficult to get all the things you need. You can have your medicine delivered and stuff, but you can't have fresh produce delivered. Not very often.
When the people don't have access to healthy food, they do not have a quality of life.
Donna Pearson McClish is continuing her family's mission of providing fresh, locally grown, healthy foods for the Wichita community.
My mother was a community advocate, and she would go into the community and ask, what are you going to do when there are no grocery stores in your community? That was back early years. And now we're seeing that come to fruition, that the lack of grocery stores in our food desert and food insecurity areas has increased.
Loaded up in a Chevy van, Donna's team is making sure that seniors, children, and everyone in between have access to fresh food in Wichita and our surrounding communities, mostly in neighborhoods that don't have grocery stores.
So that's where Common Ground, Mobile Market Producers and Growers comes into play. We take locally sourced vegetables and fruits, and we take them into communities that don't have access.
Randy Couts is one of those people you may see driving around town with this mobile market. Working at Common Ground Producers and Growers was the best decision he's ever made.
I've done a lot of things in life, but I've never done anything that literally gives you immediate satisfaction of knowing that what you did for that day makes a difference.
Hello.
That's all we need.
I'm the new community.
Okay, we'll pause it there. So hopefully that gives you a sense of what Common Ground Producers and Growers is doing in the Wichita area. So thank you very much, Donna, for joining us, especially from while you're traveling. And we're going to move on to our next featured funded project, which is Grand Avenue Market in Plains, Kansas. And Jeannie Roberts is here to share about that program or that project. So Jeannie, take it away.
Roberts. I live in the southwest corner of Plains, Kansas, or in southwest corner of Kansas. We're a very rural town, 1,146 people. We lost our store in 2001. In 2008, the city of Plains, the city council of Plains formed a committee to investigate different ways to bring a grocery store back to Plains. They were tired of losing additional businesses. It just seemed like a snowball effect. When the grocery store shut down, other businesses shut down too. Not at the exact same time, just slowly. And so we were seeing our town die a slow death. Anyway, they formed the committee. We started investigating different avenues, and one of our first calls was to K-State. We talked to David Proctor, he was in charge of the Rural Grocery Initiative. He's dedicated to saving rural grocery stores and maintaining rural life. He and his team were invaluable to us throughout the process of bringing Grand Avenue Market to reality. They were there with a helping hand at every turn. They made suggestions, gave us guidance, and when they couldn't help us, they helped us find contacts who could. Many members of our committee have attended and presented at the K-State Rural Grocery Initiative. We have attended K-State workshops and webinars. Besides coming back with great ideas, we made many contacts, and we are still in contact with a lot of those people to this day. We worked with the K-State Graphic Design Department extensively. They created a logo for us for the foundation, which our foundation is the Community Enhancement Foundation of Plains, and the foundation is a 501c3 and owns the grocery store Grand Avenue Market. They designed the logo for the foundation and also for the Grand Avenue Market. They also helped us design a kiosk for the store that would help in educating our community members on healthy food choices with different ethnic groups in Plains. It was to help them learn the different cooking techniques and help with recipes that will incorporate current sale items into our customers' weekly menu. They helped us design a timeline brochure of our project from the beginning in 2008 through the realization of Grand Avenue Market in 2022. In trying to figure out the type of grocery store ownership would best fit Plains, we investigated several options. We first approached other grocery store owners, hoping that we could encourage them to open a second location in Plains. We didn't find anybody willing to do that. We then started investigating the CAN-STEP program, which with that program, labor is all volunteers. Our local contractor that was helping us with this project already didn't feel like he wanted to oversee volunteers. So we started down a different avenue, and that approach was looking into setting up a co-op where we would sell shares to people in the community. So it would be a community-owned store. We were all set and ready to go down this avenue, but first we attended the K-State's Rural Grocery Initiative. We met a woman from Moreland, Kansas, and they had a grocery store that was owned by a 501c3. We were impressed with their approach. We presented Moreland's approach to the rest of the grocery store committee, and after much discussion over several meetings, we decided to follow their same model. We formed a corporation, the Community Enhancement Foundation of Plains, and hired the attorney, Susan Whitfield Harding. She is the same attorney who helped Moreland, Kansas. She specializes in nonprofit 501c3 charitable organizations. She helped us apply for the 501c3 status. It took 1 year for our application to be approved. Being a 501c3 opened us up to grants that we otherwise did not qualify for. Our next step was to acquire the funding needed. We began researching grants and loans and also conducted many fundraisers. Our first successful application was State Farm's Cause and Effect grant. Over time, we also won 2 grants from Southern Pioneer Electric, Meade County Economic Development, 2 grants from Sunflower Foundation in Topeka, a grant from the Community Foundation of Southwest Kansas, and we won the Kansas Community Tax Credits twice. We received many individual donations and conducted many fundraisers. Following that, we applied for the USDRD 0% interest loan, and we were approved. But we were still short on funds. And through the suggestion of K-State, we contacted the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative asking for their help. They proved to be another valuable partner. They believe every Kansan should have access to healthy, affordable food. They helped us complete the final funding piece of the Grand Avenue Market project. KHFI provided a grant which helped fund the purchase of the energy-efficient refrigeration equipment. KHFI also helped us to apply for a loan from IFF. We were successful with the IFF loan application, and this completed the final piece of our funding. It was time to pull these resources together and make Grand Avenue Market a reality. Most recently, we won a seed grant from the Kansas Department of Commerce. We will use this grant for the installation of the hood for the commercial kitchen. The commercial kitchen is to be a major component of our store. It will be used to educate our community on healthy eating and snacking, and it will be a huge help in combating the junk food habits that have been formed over the years we were without a store. During these years, our community became dependent on the local convenience store for a quick food fix before heading to a game or other school activity. Breaking these habits will be difficult. With the help of the commercial kitchen, we are confident we will succeed in forming healthier eating habits. And just as a side note, we are having difficulty finding someone to install the hood for our commercial kitchen. If anybody has any input, we would appreciate your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. So the Grand Avenue Market opened in December 2021. So it's just been open a little over a year now after the better part of 2 decades spent bringing a grocery store back to that community. Can we go back to the slides just to wrap this up? So Go to the very, you can, oh, I can keep going. That's right. I've got the power here. Okay, so those were just two presentations that we've highlighted, two funded projects that we've highlighted. And just those two, I think, share the breadth of some of our programs, from an urban farm and mobile market to a rural grocery store in Southwest Kansas. But the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative is already funding programs and having an impact throughout the state. The Kansas Healthy Food Initiative has benefited from generous financial support from the Kansas Health Foundation. However, the future of this program is uncertain, as funding to administer and offer this program is only secured through the end of 2023. So as we've shared, the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative is built on a strong partnership of committed organizations that's already making an impact in our communities. And we're currently seeking new opportunities to underwrite this program and hope to see the program continue beyond 2023. So thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions. And if you have questions of Donna or Jeannie, they should still be available to respond. There also is a representative from the Kansas Health Foundation joining remotely in case you have questions for that partner organization. So happy to answer any questions.
Right, committee, thank you very much. Senator Reichman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your presentation. I'm interested in all these. I have a question, but the first one, I'd like to go for the last one for Jeannie Roberts, talking about the Grand Avenue Market. Me being from Meade and Plain, just a few miles down the road, I visited that place, and it's very nice, neat, and a lot of choices in there. I was wondering if she'd want to tell everybody why they came out with the name Grand Avenue, and they might want to visit this small town in southwest Kansas.
Actually ran a contest. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We actually ran a contest to see what the name should be, and we had, I think there was like 7 different choices, but this one was by far the one that everybody liked. So that was a simple decision.
Thank you. I just thought you was going to mention about the Main Street. It was like the biggest Main Street in the United States or something like that.
Well, it is the widest Main Street in the USA. It's 155 feet, 5 inches, storefront to storefront. So yeah, we do. That's our calling to fame.
Thank you.
Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your presentation. A lot of little quick, easy questions. On the Grand Avenue Market, it said loan grant mix. How much of a loan did you get out of that? Was that a couple $100,000? What was the mix in the 600?
So typically with our loan grant mixes, we have some set proportions of 15% of a project would be a grant and 85% would be a loan. Now, if that's a BIPOC-led project, it would be 20% grant and 80% loan. There are also some caps. So once we get to a larger project, the grant doesn't always match up with that percentage. So I think it may have been, what's sticking in my mind is around 630-some thousand in a loan and the remainder in a grant. Jeannie might be able to correct me, or I can follow up.
You're pretty close to right. It was 652,000 loan and a $30,000 grant.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So the loan grant mixes, we have some parameters on where we start with the percentages of loan versus grant, and then sort of depending on the project, the size, the scope, and what other funds are part of the project, we make our final decisions on what that proposal will be or what that amount will be.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How long has the Kansas Health Food Initiative been in existence, and what kind of budget do you run on?
So 2017 is when Kansas Healthy Food Initiative was established. We have a $6 million pool of funds over those since 2017 that has been used for financing, so for the loans and grants. As I said, we've awarded about $4 million of that pool. Now, the financing pool is designed to be a revolving loan fund. That still kind of remains to be seen because we're still awarding the initial amount from that financing pool. We also recognize that we have grants involved in this program, so it's going to become smaller over time, while hopefully also getting a little bit larger with interest as projects are paid off. So that's the financing pool. So then we have our operating costs, which go to my office, the Food Trust, a couple other partner organizations involved. And that I cannot remember off the top of my head what the amount is. But I would say, I think it's about $2 million over the course of the program, or maybe over the 3 years. So we've had two rounds of funding from Kansas Health Foundation. So $2 million for all of the partners involved. Now, there are programs in other states, and there are precedents around these types of programs, healthy food financing initiatives, where legislatures have funded the financing pool as well as operating costs to administer the program. And the precedent there is to support at about the 10% level. So if it was a $1 million fund, maybe $100,000 would be going towards operating the program. So there are some precedents out there.
Senator Reichman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have at the KHFI funded projects across Kansas, and there are quite a few of them that you have. And I was wondering if we could get a list of what they are. I was especially interested in the ones in the 38th district where I was from. I was just wondering if you could give us a list of those.
Yeah, so this table in the packet includes the funded projects in the districts represented by this committee. So District 38, Community Enhancement Foundation of Plains, is the one funded project we have in that district. You can see other projects broken down by district. This is not a complete list of all of the funded projects. We just honed it into who was in this room for this presentation. But we could follow up with a complete list of, okay, all right.
Next, we have Senator Ware on WebEx. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
You're good.
Okay, great. This is a topic that has been, you may already have realized that over the years, getting Kansans better fed and the quality water that we will be taking up the water issues. Between food and water, you just can't get more elemental than that. And I think one of the most interesting parts is that, especially on both of these issues, it's not a rural or an urban or any versus in between the two. It's everybody everywhere that this addresses. And I did have the privilege this last summer of visiting the Pearson farm, and Donna McLeish is doing an amazing job of providing much needed food and nutrition, really nutritionally wonderfully great food for so many folks. I guess my only real question is, she mentioned that they go to 35 properties, but I have the feeling that each one of those properties is quite a number of folks. I wonder if she has off the top of her head a ballpark of how many people she actually affects and helps feed.
Good morning, Senator. Good to hear from you. Our last count was approximately 5,000 people during a season that are exposed and have the opportunity to purchase fresh produce through the mobile market, because each of the centers, the residences and the high rise, house anywhere from 35, 40 to 58, maybe 80 at the max. I'm thinking of one in particular that Senator Ware visited with us. They have 100 residences. So if we do those 35, we're looking between 3,500 to 5,000 people that are served with the mobile market in those centers. And that does not include the community outreach that we do. We have a First Fridays at one of our community churches that we have fresh produce. We work with WSU Engagement, Neighborhood Shocker Neighborhood Opportunity to set up the mobile market in that area. So we serve probably more than 5,000 people per season.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Committee, any other questions? Senator Dahl was next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The funding aspect, just going through this, it looks like you get some from federal, state, local, and individual contributions. Is that correct?
So the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative is entirely funded by the Kansas Health Foundation right now. The financing pool was directly invested by the Kansas Health Foundation. There are individual projects have received funding from other sources. Both of these funded projects mention some of the other funding they've received from the state, from federal government, and so on, even other private foundations. Does that answer?
None of us come from the general budget then.
No, none of this is coming from the general budget.
And on these grants, are those grants expected to be paid back?
The grants are not expected to be paid back. The loan portion of the funding is expected to be paid back.
Was it like a 90-10, 80-20 type thing?
Usually 15% grant, 85% loan, or 20% grant, 80% loan for BIPOC-led projects. And the interest rates are set by our two financial partners. So Network Kansas and IFF set those interest rates. But they're meant to be kind of lower, on the lower end, but also meant to be, the Kansas Healthy Food Initiative is meant to be a program that kind of fills in the gap where other funding can't cover it. And so there are many times when we've talked to a project and encouraged them to talk to some of their local funding opportunities first. Maybe there is a local bank that would want to support this project. And if that happens and they still need some additional gap funding to complete that project, we're available to support.
So if you fall short and it comes from individual contributions or from government, community, from the community, if you fall short on the 1585?
I'm not sure I'm understanding.
I don't know where your income's coming from to help pay for these grants and such.
So the financing pool, the $6 million from Kansas Health Foundation, is going towards both the loans and the grants. We have seen that grants, as you might expect, are very popular, and it's hard to sustain a program that has a high ratio of grants. And that's part of why we've developed these standards for how we determine what percentage of a project will be grant versus loan. And that's also part of the reason why we want to actively seek more funding to support this financing pool, because we see the need for those grant funds. Some of our grant funds go towards pre-development work, maybe a market study or a feasibility study to ensure that the project is viable and ready for financing. Some of the grant funding also goes to post award technical assistance. So maybe there's some mentoring that needs to happen to help get that business up and running, identify their standard operating procedures. We know that the first 3 years of a new business are the most tentative. And so if we can be supporting that project after we've financed it, then that's a good investment in our mind.
These are unconditional grants.
The grants, yes.
A lot of strings.
There have been some times where we've offered a grant with certain expectations of the project, but generally it is part of that loan grant combination. So if you're getting a $500,000 loan, then you're getting, you would also have a grant as part of that.
Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is kind of dovetailing off what Senator Dole was doing here. What's the balance of loans outstanding do you have right now? And I was wondering how the performance of repayments been. Has it been, just wondering in that area?
Yeah, that is something I will have to get back to you on. I think our financial partners, Network Kansas and IFF, would be able to speak to that better. I know that we have had a few of our loans repaid. A lot of our loans are fairly large, so they have not been fully repaid. I believe most of the loan terms are 15 years, so we're 5 years into the program, so wouldn't expect those to be fully repaid yet.
I'd be interested in delinquency rate. That's Thank you.
Committee, anybody else? Any questions? Not seeing any. Thank you very much, Raul, and then Donna and Jeannie for your presentations, and wish you well in your efforts down the road. So, and have a good rest of the day too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time and all of your questions.
Very much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.